What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Supergirl Season 2, Episode 4, Survivors. Um, Gotta admit, it's strange seeing Jiaying actually being, like, racist against aliens instead of protecting them. If you haven't seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you have no idea what I'm talking about, but the lady that plays Roulette was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but she was the leader of this group of Inhumans, and, like, protecting them from the outside world because she thought that humans were evil. So it's kind of funny seeing the exact opposite in this one, where she's a human who is discriminating against aliens and forcing them to fight each other. It's very strange to see that character so different. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, this was a fairly interesting episode as far as that goes. It's something we haven't really seen much of in this. We've seen some of the discrimination going on. We've seen some of the talk about, ooh, should aliens be a part of our culture, or should we, get them out of our cities? What, should we allow them to register? Stuff like that. That's been talked about, but this is the first time we've seen somebody who is like a human who's actually doing something like this, completely treating them like trash, pretty much, and forcing them to fight each other. And of course, she doesn't see it that way. She sees it as, I'm their one place of refuge. But of course, it's pretty much slavery, is what it is. She makes them fight for entertainment. It's very obvious that she's not a good person. So, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting to see. It's a little bit different because I don't know if I've ever seen really anything like this before, where you're taking your main group of people who the main character relates with, forcing them to fight each other, and even throws in a Michael Vick joke about the dog fights. Just like, wow, this is definitely a bit dark for Supergirl. But ultimately, how it ends was okay. I thought, though, and I'm not sure if they just ran out of time or what, but the ending felt really rushed. Like, first, you've got Miss Martian and Martian Manhunter. They're fighting to the death to become the last Green Martian. And at one point, John Jones is just like, look, I forgive you, you're forgiven, blah, 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 blah. Gives her this speech, and of course she's just like, I'm not going to kill him. So then Roulette opens up the door that reveals the big creature that Supergirl fought earlier. Supergirl flies in, they fight for a little bit. She uses her X-ray vision, which this part was actually clever, but I wish that it had lasted longer after this. She uses her X-ray vision to see a weak point in its knee, so then hits the knee, causes it to go down, and then hits it in the face, and that's it. I wish it had been like she was noticing the weak spots, and then she slowly starts taking it down, instead of just one hit, and it's done. That was just too fast for me. And then on top of that, it felt too fast when she went down to where Roulette was. Alex had followed her down there, trapped her, but then all of the aliens that she had in captive, she was pretty much having them step out to protect her. Supergirl steps in and says, look, you don't have to fight for her anymore. We can do something different. And gives them this speech, and then just instantly they're just like, oh, okay. It felt way too rushed for me. And I honestly wonder if part of that is because there was a lot going on in this episode. But if that's the case, I feel like there's some stuff they can cut out to make room for more important stuff like this. For instance, the whole Maggie thing. Why on earth is she in here? I talked about last week how frustrating it was that they threw in this character who's a lesbian just so they can have, oh, we have our gay character for this season. It felt so forced and thrown in, and it wasn't even like we found out naturally. She just, one of the first things out of her mouth when she's talking to Alex in the bar, she's talking about how she used to have a girlfriend. I'm just like, really? Why do you have to force this on us? If you want to have a homosexual character in your show, fine. But don't force this down our throats. Don't force this whole, oh, we have to have this homosexual character, guys. It's got to be in. Don't force that on us. If we find out naturally, if, at the end of this episode, she works with Alex. Alex invites her out for a drink, and then she's just like, oh no, hey, and then her girlfriend happens to be right there. Yeah, because, if I was dating somebody, and I was a cop, I would definitely make sure they were standing right nearby and came out as I'm trying to arrest somebody. That's natural. But it would have been so much better if it had been like Alex had seen her out somewhere, and she's out with a girl, and it's like, oh, she's homosexual. Okay. But no, they have to be like, oh yeah, I used to have a girlfriend. Oh look, here's my girlfriend now. And just like, oh, it's forced in. It's trying to force the whole, oh yeah, we are for homosexual stuff. And it doesn't feel natural at all. And then on top of that, it bogs down an already crowded story and makes that ending feel rushed because you put more time into developing this whole she and Alex may end up having a relationship later on in the season. You don't have to do that. If you want them to have a relationship later on, you can do it much more naturally than, oh, hey, I'm going to call you, and do you want to see a dead body? And then she goes there, Supergirl shows up, they completely ignore her talking to each other about stuff, and then they're talking about more stuff. You don't have to have all of these scenes because you have more important stuff to talk about right now. And honestly, there's quite a bit of relationship stuff in this that I feel like is focused on a bit too much. And you don't need to focus on the relationship stuff because I'd much rather see a longer scene where Supergirl has to really debate with some of these aliens. It's not just Supergirl gives a monologue, they are just like, okay, and that's it. I want to see them actually start to fight back, start to say something like, these humans don't care about us. Start to bring their own points that make Supergirl have to actually think and say something a bit different than just, oh, you stand up for yourself. Come on, you don't have to take this anymore. It's just way too simple. So I'm really disappointed by that. I'm disappointed that they crowded this episode with so much relationship stuff going on. Some forced stuff with Maggie, which I guess she's going to be a main character now. I guess we need to have that one main character, that is a homosexual, because if not, then we're not representing them properly. You're already not representing them properly by forcing this stuff in right now. Anyway. So, all that stuff going on. You've also got stuff with Mon-El and when he convinces Wynn to let him out, and this also felt kind of thrown in there, like we didn't need to have so much time spent with this. They could have just shown, like, Wynn is like, okay, yeah, we'll just have a few drinks, and then it shows him, like, passed out as he's breaking the guy's arm. That would have been so much faster. It would have taken, like, a minute and a half to 2 minutes instead of about 5 to 7 minutes. So, once again, more time we could have dedicated at the end. And ultimately what it leads to is what I pretty much predicted near the beginning of this season, that Kara and Mon-El are probably going to end up getting together because, hey, he's just like her, so yeah, of course, and he's good looking, so why not? At the very least, I hope that they have something in common, so it's not just like last season where Kara and Jimmy had nothing in common, but hey, he's good looking, so that's enough for her. I want this, if they're going to do it right, that's fine. But right now, it feels like they're already just setting it up because they want to have Kara be in a relationship. And that's not a good enough reason for me. I want her to be in a relationship because she actually finds somebody that she wants to be with. Not just because, oh, she needs a relationship. Because she doesn't. She's trying to be a superhero. She doesn't need a relationship right now. She doesn't have time for a relationship right now. So I hope they're not going to try to force that into the story as well. We'll see how it goes, but right now, that's just, it feels like another storyline to bog down an already crowded story. But then the last story that is kind of intriguing to me, because it's kind of a mystery. We see Megan, or Magon, I forget what they called her, but we see her fighting in these alien fights, and so we're just like, oh, so that's what she's doing. That's interesting. And so, of course, Jean is just like, look, you don't have to fight, and trying to really... It's kind of weird because if you really think about what he's saying, it sounds kind of creepy romantic, but from what I'm thinking it's just because that is the last Martian it's the only Martian that he's seen. So I'm wondering if that's the reason why he feels a connection to her and why he wants to become connected to her. Not in like a romantic sense, not in like we gotta hook up, like anything like that. I think it's honestly because it's how he thinks. It's the last Martian, it's the only Martian he's seen. So I think it's just he feels that connection to her and wants to really get to know her more. So she's acting very standoffish, like, no, we can't. I don't want to do the brain meld or whatever they do. And it's kind of like, why doesn't she want to? And then they find out she's fighting. It's like, okay, so that's why she doesn't want to do it with him. And then at the end of the episode, he goes to see her and kind of apologizes for everything. And then he walks out, and all of a sudden she transforms into the White Martian. And I'm just like, wait, what? So the whole time, she's a White Martian. She had the chance to kill him and didn't do it right then. And had a good reason to do it as well. I don't know. I'm wondering if maybe the Miss Martian that we saw at the beginning of the episode, I'm wondering if maybe she is a Green Martian. And then the Megan that we saw at the end of the episode is actually a White Martian. So maybe there are two. Maybe the White Martian came in and killed Megan and then took her spot, or maybe she's holding Megan somewhere. I don't know. All of these are just theories I'm throwing out there because it's intriguing to me. The fact that she's actually a White Martian makes me wonder: is she really a White Martian, or is this just is this a different person altogether than who he was talking to before? Or is this just been a White Martian the entire time in disguise, trying to get closer to Jean so this White Martian can kill him? Because it may be the same White Martian. I can't remember. I can't remember what happened with the White Martian they saw last season. I remember being really frustrated by it because Jean had the chance to kill it, and Supergirl pretty much talked him out of it for some reason. Like, oh, don't kill the being that killed your entire race. That's just wrong. What? Seriously? But I can't remember what happened to that Martian. I remember they took it into captivity. But I can't remember if it escaped or what happened after that with it. So this may be the same one. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's intriguing. It's a little bit of a mystery. I'm excited to see where it's going. Yeah, that part of it is good. The Fight Club part of it is good. The episode overall was really good. It's just those few moments, like the moments with Wynn and Mon-El, the moments with Kara and Mon-El, the moments with Maggie and Alex. I'm just like, this is too much. It's all bogging down the episode, and I don't really need it. It's not. You can have it in there. You can have some of that stuff thrown in there, but it feels like that's getting too much focus. And so whenever you get to the end and they're having to rush through that final moment where it takes 2 punches for Supergirl to punch out the big alien, it takes literally maybe 30 seconds of a speech for Supergirl to get through these aliens. It all feels so rushed through that it frustrates me that we had so much time devoted to relationship stuff. Wynn and Mon-El. Maggie's homosexual. We need to rep that. We need to make sure everybody knows that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but that's frustrating looking back in hindsight, looking at the end of the episode and thinking, oh, look at all the stuff that we could have done with these last few minutes if you hadn't wasted it on other stuff. So, those are my thoughts on this episode. I'm looking forward to next week. Kind of, from the previews, it looks like, because for some reason, it feels like in every CW show, anybody a part of the team that isn't really doing much action-wise, it feels like they've always got to give them some action stuff. So like in Arrow, Curtis gets some action stuff now. Felicity still hasn't, but she's on the computer, so that's her thing. When in this show, he ended up getting a job at the DEO, and now all of a sudden, next week, Jimmy is going to be like a vigilante, taking down guys and stuff. Like, really? Jimmy? Going to be a fighter? He's already a completely different character than what I know from the comics, and now we're turning him from reporter. Not that he doesn't stand up for himself, but he's not a fighter, and yet we're seeing him like kick some ass next week in the previews. So I don't know where they're going to go with this. Hopefully that doesn't become too big of a focus, because I don't know if I want to see Jimmy turned into vigilante. We'll see what happens, but let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What do you like and dislike about this episode? What do you want to see next week? Let me know. We can talk about, discuss, all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Supergirl reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.